Minnesota, the Democrats' bureaucracy is showing today. Bureaucracy is showing in our education bill. Fully funding our schools is often a campaign promise we hear. We need to fully fund our schools. And yet, we have in front of us a bill with a $17.5 billion surplus handed over to the majority party. $19 billion, if you adjust it for the inflation. $19 billion surplus. There was no reason to prioritize this session fully funding schools. And yet, they will tout, and we will see what the media prints, they will tout record spending for our schools. Will they include the mandates? Will they include what we have been hearing over and over and over from our superintendents, from our school board members, from our teachers? Our schools are worried, members, and they're not getting answers. You can say we are doing a 4-2 increase on the formula. We would like to be factual with Minnesota. When the unemployment insurance goes into effect, that's been funded for 1 year. 1 year. Just the unemployment insurance will take 2% off of the formula. And our superintendents and our school board members know it, members. That's why you're getting the emails. That's why you're getting the calls. Democrats, when we were out door knocking, did you tout bigger government? Did you tell them what you were going to put into your education bill? 47 new full-time employees to the Minnesota Department of Education. 47. Did you put that on a campaign flyer? Additional funding is available to hire 26 more full-time employees. Is that going to get a headline in our media? Record increase in education, or record increase in bureaucracy, as we put 70 new full-time employees in the Minnesota Department of Ed. 70 new employees. That's a 15% increase. When you were out door knocking, members, did you remember having a promise to our taxpayers? Our local taxpayers that are suffering here in Minnesota because they are supporting these unfunded mandates that this legislative body continues to put on our taxpayers. Did you say to those taxpayers, we're going to even put a bigger burden on you? Because that's what this bill is doing. Did you tell the children in our schools that when we have a 50% literacy rate, 50% members in the state of Minnesota of our kids, half of our kids are not reading at grade level? That is a fact. I sat on the school education finance board and I waited week after week after week for the majority party to bring bills that represented what our parents, what our schools, and what our teachers want, and that is increased funding for education, not increased mandates, and not more full-time employees to the Minnesota Department of Ed. As you are receiving call after call and email after email from your teachers, because Minnesota ranks at the very bottom of the United States in our teacher pension plan. Democrats, did you tell them you were going to prioritize 65 new school mandates? 65 new mandates. Free lunches for all, but teachers, no, we are not going to correct your pensions. Were we honest on the campaign trail? Because what we told people at the doors and what we're seeing in this education bill is two very, very different stories. And now will the Minnesota media report the truth of this education bill? The biggest increase in funding to schools, and yet we are hearing from our school boards, we are hearing from our superintendents that after they fund all of these mandates, they will have a decrease per pupil. I have been out talking to my members in my districts, and they are very concerned members, as I know 100% they are reaching out to the Democrat Party. I get emails from other districts saying, Representative Altendorf, I would like to talk to you about education because my member is not responding to me. When I've talked to my superintendents, they have clearly said that they are preparing for the worst. And when this education bill goes through, they are going to have to look at serious decisions of possibly making cuts in the schools. That's a fact. How can you have such a disconnect? How can you push these mandates of unemployment insurance, of paid family leave on our schools in a time when we are having a workforce shortage, in a time when we cannot fill our classrooms with the amount of teachers and employees that we need in our schools? And the Democrat Party is going to put this burden on our schools? This is amazing to watch. This is amazing, Minnesota, to watch a party who has claimed over and over that they are the party that cares about education. Clearly, you have not shown our teachers that you care about our teachers when you have not addressed the pension problem. Clearly, you have not shown our students that you care about our academics when you are not putting adequate funds into changing our academics. Clearly, you are not telling the Minnesota taxpayers that you care about our taxpayers when you continue to put unfunded mandates on our schools, and that's going to go back to our local governments, that's going to go back to our property taxpayers. There's a lot of questions, and I have not heard the Democrats give one answer how schools are going to pay for paid family leave. How are they going to pay for it? But you will stand up and you will say that this is the best education bill that we have ever passed? This is absolutely laughable. And anybody with a calculator on a school board and a superintendent, they know the truth. So will the Minnesota media report the actual news? That this education bill could literally bankrupt our schools. We have bureaucrats growing our government, while our teachers are suffering at the mandates that are strangling them to be able to control their classrooms. We have bureaucrats in St. Paul that think that they know better than you, that they think they know better than our school boards, than local control. Members, I ran on less government, more freedom. There could not be a more clear distinction than the bureaucrats here in St. Paul who think they know better than every school district across Minnesota for a party that is in full control, a one party in full control. When our schools are suffering under these policies, this will fall clearly on your shoulders, and I will vote no. And I would wish that every member in this body would vote no, as this is going to come crashing down.